Somebody just sent me an email or a comment on one of my videos saying that China is, they can't shut the internet down because just the way it's designed, and that we're going to start develop more telepathic abilities. And in China, they're heavily censored and they're quite sensitive to it. And they're developing really, really special skills that we're not really hearing an awful lot about, but I've seen some of these abilities, and they are highly intuitive just because they've been suppressed so long. They do have telepathic abilities that um, it's just not being reported, but I have seen it. I have heard it. I know it's out there. And I've even seen it in myself. There even is one show called Lie to Me where the show can tell how somebody's lying just by watching their facial expressions. They can sense um, different types of emotions, just because in order for you to have that emotion, your face needs to shift a little bit. When you cry, you tend to be sad. So anytime you see somebody crying, generally you can see, oh, there's a sad person. But you can also see somebody crying if they're happy. And the release of those tears is because they had a lack of something that was causing pain, and it now was a relief by receiving something. So it could cause tears. So the more you have experiences of these expressions and the more you can see your own expressions, then when you see it in somebody else, you know exactly what's going on. Um, that's kind of where I'm coming from. Is I've been able to see a lot of this stuff. I've been I'm extremely sensitive. All of this hard abuse bullshit that was done to me ended up giving me an awful lot of more strength. And trying to communicate it was the problem. So it was like, okay, just communicate a little better. And it's like, how do you communicate with insanity? And it's like, if you think it's impossible, you'll never find the way. But if you just, okay, it's possible, how? And then the answer comes to you. But I can sense when somebody's sending me negative energy. I can feel it. I'm extremely sensitive. If there's a negative energy anywhere coming at me, I feel it. If there's positive energy, I am so sensitive to it, I will feel it. So a lot of people have been saying, oh, don't be so sensitive. It's like, why the hell would you want me not to be sensitive? It's like, you want me to be tough so I can't read you. you know, you want me tough so I'll follow your ways. You want me tough so I won't be as sensitive so I follow my own path. You want me to follow your path. So generally anybody that tells you don't be so sensitive, it's like that's because they want you so friggin' tough that you don't have your own abilities, that you don't believe in yourself, and you're going to be guided down some path that somebody else wants you to believe in. Now, part of this conversation is that we should sort of hijack CNN and get them to report shit that we want them to report. We do have that ability. We can make CNN say exactly what we want them to say. And how I knew that this was possible was because I have this passion all my life to help other people. And so in the event, especially with my own kids, they're really, really friggin' intelligent kids. I mean, they know shit I don't know, technology wise. And I mean, we're talking heavy engineering, heavy sciences that I knew nothing about the subject. But my passion to help was always engaging in the conversations. And what I ended up noticing is some of the advice that they wanted to hear was coming out of my mouth. And it was really, really technical. And it's like, no, I didn't know that shit. Only I know that I don't know this engineering shit that's coming out of my mouth. So where the hell is it coming from? And it was more or less being channeled through me. My son wanted to know some answers, and if he engages in a conversation with me, then his answers come back at him through me. And it's not like I knew this shit. And you have to have that experience. You have to sort of go, okay, that did not come from me because I know better. I don't know that shit. So how is it I knew it enough to speak it if I know for a fact I don't know that? So basically, anybody that's listening to any of my shows, guess what? Most of this shit is coming from you. You want to hear this. You are hijacking my channel to say what you want to hear. It's not so much coming from me as it's coming from you. Um, and if we see that we have that ability to do that, then you got to see that what CNN is telling us is what we want to hear. We want to hear all this bad shit. You got to sort of pay attention to yourself and say, you know what? I want to hear something completely different. I want to hear what the solutions are. I want to hear all of the good stuff. And if you get enough people doing that, then you can really technically hijack CNN. But it's a math thing. There are more people that want to hear bad shit, and they are channeling through CNN to hear more and more bad shit. But if the more the majority wants to hear something completely different, you can technically really hijack CNN and get the news that you want to do. And it's not so much that you need more numbers, it means that you need to know that you're more powerful. As long as you believe in yourself, as long as you believe in your own telepathic ability, as long as you know you can send these scalar waves, because you do have them, the more you can actually control what another person says. Um, I know I've seen examples of this in two other situations. One of them that I'm really, really embarrassed to even talk about because the words did not come from my mouth and yet they were so hurtful, so painful. I can't even say the words because it makes me feel so bad, but I'll use it as an example. One time when I was looking for help, just because 9 years of looking for help, there was no help. So I developed this rule in my brain that kept saying, there is no help, there is no help, there is no help. And then I was going into this counseling and she would constantly cancel on me all the time. And then they were going to give it one more shot and she was again 30 minutes late. And I'm not saying anything. You know, the expressions on my face must have shown because all I kept saying in my brain is, you're about to cancel again. You know, and I'm kind of just sort of laughing about it in my head. So I don't know what kind of expressions I was showing at the time. I can't see a mirror of myself, but the next words out of her mouth were, you look like you're in a bad mood. Let's rebook. Now, what kind of counselor sees that you're in a bad mood and then sends you on your way and say, you know, come back for counseling only when you're in a good mood. Come back for counseling when you figured out all your answers. It's like that was friggin' total insane for her to say something like that. And when you can sort of see your own responsibility, it was like, what was going on in my head? You know, it's like, there is no help, there is no help, there is no help. So guess what? I made her say something that was a reflection of what I was believing in, that there was no help. I was saying, you're going to cancel. In my head, guess what? She said the words, I'm going to cancel. So it is a tough pill to swallow, but you got to understand a lot of this shit is coming from you. Then, when I ended up finding this tool, holodynamics, and I seen how powerful it was, and I'm living in a community where all of these natives are having such a problem with drugs, I wanted to just share this information with their drug center. And, you know, I have it in my mind of everything that I wanted to say, and it was really, really positive. And then when they picked up the phone, you know what the first words I said? And this is so embarrassing. I ended up saying, I hear a lot of Indians are on drugs. And it's like, I never use the word Indians. Never, ever, ever. I find it extremely offensive. I find it really, everything that I would hate is in that word. And then to say it in that group of forms, it was like, no. And you know what? Everything I was saying, she rejected me. And why? Because of those first few words. She said, we don't tend to talk with anybody that uses language like that. We find that so insulting and you have nothing to offer us. What was going on in her head? Was she saying that this is the way people judge us, that us Indians are all on drugs? If she had that thought in her head, then she made me say those words. And you got to be sort of responsible and accountable. You got to be stronger than the energy that's coming at you. And while a lot of people want you to say bad shit, you got to be stronger than that and say the shit you want to say. So if we got our numbers together and we knew that we were stronger, we can hijack CNN if we wanted to. Peace